A reading from the first book of Kings. The Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream at night. God said, "Ask something of me, and I will give it to you." Solomon answered, "O Lord my God, you have made me your servant, king to succeed my father David. But I am a mere youth, not knowing at all how to act. I serve you in the midst of the people whom you have chosen, a people so vast that it cannot be numbered or counted. Give your servant, therefore, an understanding heart to judge your people and to distinguish right from wrong. For who is able to govern this vast people of yours?" The Lord was pleased that Solomon made this request. So God said to him, "Because you have asked for this, not for a long life for yourself, nor for riches, nor for the life of your enemies, but for understanding so that you may know what is right, I do as you requested. I give you a heart so wise and understanding that there has never been anyone like you up to now, and after you there will come no one to equal you." The word of the Lord.
Lord, I love your commands. I love your commands. Lord, I love your commands. I love your commands. I have said, O Lord, my portion is to obey your words. The law from your mouth means more to me than large quantities of silver and gold. Lord, I love your commands. I love your commands. Let your merciful love console me by your promise to your servant. Show me compassion that I may live, for your law is my delight. Lord, I love your commands. I love your commands. That is why I love your commands more than finest gold. Why I rule my life by your precepts and hate false ways. Lord, I love your commands. I love your commands. Your decrees are wonderful indeed, therefore my soul obeys them. The unfolding of your word gives light and understanding to the simple. Lord, I love your commands. I love your commands.
A reading from Romans. A reading from Romans, the letter of Paul. Brothers and sisters, we know that all things work for good for those who love God, who are called according to his purpose. For those who foreknow, he also predestined to be conformed to the image of his Son, so that he might be the firstborn among many brothers and sisters. And those who he predestined, he also called. And those he called, he also justified. and those he justified, he also glorified. The word of the Lord.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus said to his disciples, "The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure buried in a field, which a person finds and hides again, and out of joy goes and sells all that he has and buys that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant searching for fine pearls. When he finds a pearl of great price, he goes and sells all that he has and buys it." The Gospel of the Lord. Good morning, everyone. I seldom do the 10 o'clock Mass because Deacon Dwayne does such a great job, but he's away this week, so I'm filling in. I want to thank the ushers, by the way. These men and women do a great job here in the parish. But you might want to thank them yourselves because they told me that if I go over 40 minutes, they're just going to turn the lights off. In today's gospel, Jesus underscores three themes. Some people are searching. Once they find that for which they had been searching, they discard everything they believe valuable. The items they find are treasures. They are both intrinsically valuable, and the effort to obtain them is costly. The word treasure often implies something covert, something hidden. And in much of the ancient world, and certainly in Palestine at the time of Christ, anyone who had something of value kept it hidden. In some cases, in the ground. We see this in the parable in Matthew 25, where one of the servants is so afraid of his master that he takes the money, the talents with which he had been entrusted, and buries them in the ground. So what was this person in today's gospel doing in a field that clearly was not his, that he did not own? Quite literally, he was looking for buried treasure. And this treasure was not even his. Moreover, once he finds the treasure, does he notify the owner? No, he's quite deceitful. But he earnestly wants what he has found. He sells everything he has, returns to dig up the treasure, and finds great joy. Likewise, the merchant who is searching for a prized pearl upon finding it sells everything, purchases it, and is delighted. Whether a buried treasure or a glistening pearl, these men had found what they had been so wholeheartedly seeking, and great joy in the process. In order to obtain these treasures, what did these individuals do? Jesus tells us precisely. They go and sell all that they have. They go. That is, they return to their homes or businesses and take account of their possessions. They likely look around and maybe even pause, thinking to themselves, is what I currently possess worth selling? Worth discarding? Is all of it worth this one prize? It's like the recommendation that before you buy a new car that looks great on the lot, to first go home and wait a day. But confirmed in their respective decisions, quote, they indeed sell all that they have and purchase their treasures. All. The value of what they had seen is worth all, not part of their wealth. They sell it all. Jesus illustrates not only the single-minded purpose of these men in obtaining their treasures, but also the absolute value of these treasures. Treasures of such unique worth that they sell all that they own. The kingdom of heaven is this treasure, this pearl of great price. It is indeed costly. And what keeps me from obtaining it? Perhaps you might reflect with me. It may be my personal possessions, such as money. It may be my business or work. It may also be my more discreet possessions, my reputation that I do not wish to sacrifice, or my security, or even more subtle, my dreams, my goals, my friendships, my plans. Or perhaps I'm just not interested in it. Perhaps I've long ago stopped searching, even if I ever did. Is the kingdom of God worth all of this? Is it worth the search? Is it even worth the choice to seek it? The great German theologian Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who was later executed by the Nazis, suggested that this, quote, pearl of great price was in fact nothing more or less than God's grace. It is the grace that calls us to follow him, that initiates our search, that will bring us joy. But this grace in itself is costly. It cost the death of God's only Son, grace bought for us through his death. Quote, "For you were bought at a price," writes St. Paul in 1 Corinthians. It is such a prize of such value that it will also cost me. While it may not cost me my life, it will cost me my current comfort. In Matthew 19, we see by contrast the rich young man who meets Jesus face to face, yet is unwilling to part with his possessions, his comfortable life, his identity. Jesus directly invites him to the kingdom, invites him to leave his former life and to follow him. Quote, "When the young man heard this, he went away sad, for he had great possessions." Unlike the rich young man, these two men in the gospel today discarded their possessions and obtained the great prize of God's grace and found not sadness, but supreme joy. Too often, I am like the rich young man, not like the men in today's gospel. I want what Bonhoeffer called cheap grace. I want things to remain just as they are. I want to remain just as I am. I want the security and peace and consistency that comes with things as they are. No change is necessary. I'll keep doing what I'm doing. Jesus' life, death, and resurrection is fine to consider, to even pray about, and even to celebrate comfortably here in our cathedral. But none of that will change me. No, I'm good. Thanks very much. Costly grace is just too much for me. Bonhoeffer writes, "Cheap grace is the deadly enemy of our church. Cheap grace alone does everything, they say, and so everything can remain as it was before. Let the Christian live like the rest of the world. Let him model himself on the world's standards in every sphere of life, and not presumptuously aspire to live a different life under grace from his old life. Cheap grace is the grace we bestow on ourselves. Cheap grace is grace without discipleship, grace without the cross, grace without Jesus Christ, living and incarnate. Costly grace is a treasure hidden in the field. For the sake of it, a man will gladly go and sell all that he has. It is the pearl of great price, for which the merchant will sell all his goods. It is the kingly call of Christ himself, at which the disciples will leave their nets and follow him. Such grace is costly because it costs a man his life, and it is grace because it gives a man the only true life. Above all, it is costly because it costs God the life of his Son. and what has cost God much cannot be cheap for us. We have examples of men and women who have found this pearl, who have left behind their comfort and peace and have followed the call of Christ. Some are the great saints: Magdalene, Paul, Augustine, Francis, Ignatius. Others are men and women of great holiness: Merton, Dorothy Day, John Lewis, Mother Teresa. They may have hesitated and considered a bit too long before purchasing the pearl. They too likely were reluctant, like me, to give up what was comfortable, convenient, safe, and secure, and to follow him. But they chose to search and found a joy they never imagined. To many of us, giving up anything is a sacrifice, whether it's something we enjoy or something that defines us: our work, our dreams, our reputations, our wealth. This costly grace has a price. It demands change. It costs indeed. But for these two men in the gospel, searching for and finding it was not a sacrifice. It was worth the cost. It was not so much about, quote, giving up comfort, as in freeing themselves from its constraints, from normalcy, respectability, and acceptability even. And so, freed from the burden of these constraints, they search now with a lightened and unencumbered load. Theirs was a deliberate and considered choice. Freed from their former ways of life, they found a new joy in the costly grace of Christ's love. Like the rich young man, they were likely living a life of respectability and comfort, but also of sadness. They had been bound by themselves, their choices, constrained from searching for the truest treasure, the pearl of great price, until they began their search for something better, the truest treasure, the pearl of great price that would ultimately compel them not to see what they left behind as a sacrifice, but as freedom, as liberation, as a path to joy. May we not settle on our daily cheap grace that asks nothing of us. May we find the costly grace that changes our lives and brings us joy. To live is to change, said St. John Henry Newman, and to be perfect is to have changed often. We can change too, for the right price.